Hello, guys. So, in this episode, I wanted to talk about letting it sit. So, this is an interesting one, and it's something I still struggle with today. But first things first, disclaimer, this is in no means an expert opinion. I'm not an expert. I'm just wanting to share things with others that may help them deal with some of the emotions that they're feeling, because I know that this has helped me and some others in the past. So it's something that I wanted to share, or at least make an archive that could be shared later. Letting it sit is an interesting one, and it's something I still struggle with today. But let me try to explain it. When you're in a tense situation, there's always a need to get your point across. There's always a need to get your point across. You want to be heard. You want the other person to hear you because you care. First things first. If you are arguing with someone, or you are having a back and forth, or you are intense, or you're upset about something, you care. That's number one. I know it's easy. It's easier to say I don't care. It's easier to process something and say it's easier to repress something and say I don't care. I never cared about it, and lie to yourself and create a mechanism of I just never cared. That's not true. You just don't want to think about it. You just don't want to think about how much it hurts you. But here's a trick that takes a lot of practice. Letting it sit. People, for the most part, have an ability to hear. They have an ability to listen and process things. And in heated moments, it's difficult. But that does not mean that a person did not hear you. Oh, I need to remember this. So let me explain. I think the most satisfied I've been in discussions or arguments with people I care about, and it could be anybody. It could be a professor. It could be, it could be a student. It could be whoever. Is a person I care about if I've had an argument with them. The most satisfied I've been is when I've said my point and stopped. It takes a lot. And I'll explain some mechanisms to try to help with that. But to explain your point and stop is the most powerful thing I feel as though you can do for yourself. You say it, and you say it once, and that's it. You don't always have to say it, right? There's always caveats, and there's always different ways to approach things. Sometimes it's the person is genuinely, I don't understand, and they need follow-up questions, and they ask you about it. But we're describing more of an argumentative situation. Explain your point and stop. Explain your point and stop, and be comfortable stopping. The most satisfied I've been is when I've done that and somebody returns a couple days later or a couple weeks later and they say the thing that I was talking about, or they get it and they talk to me and say I understand what you were saying. It made sense. Sometimes people need life to teach them things. You won't always be ready for certain information. People aren't ready for all types of information. But we're all trying to understand each other, so it's okay to continue to pursue a way of communicating information. It's okay to continue to pursue that. But be really comfortable letting your points go. Let them go. Because at the end of the day, you don't need to be externally validated for your points. You are looking for external validation because you want to know that another person heard you. If another person hears you, that means you're safe. You're safe interacting with them. You're safe to be around them. You're safe because they understand who you are. They understand you and they're able to see you. So that means that you're safe now. But understand that safety is something that only, in a way that you can give yourself. You can give yourself that safety. And in the moment of an intense back and forth, in the moment of an intense fight, in the moment of an intense argument, tell yourself, I am safe. I'm going to end my point here. It's okay. Be comfortable dropping a conversation. Be comfortable saying what you have to say, ending a conversation. You have to do it for your sanity. Right? Now, on the other hand, there's always a balance. There's always a balance. Don't go into every conversation like, I just gotta say what I gotta say, and then nobody gets to tell me anything else. No, there's always a balance to these things. But if you lean on the side of like, I always have to fight for my point, and if I don't fight for my point, I'll never get it across and it'll never be heard. Lessen that. Bring it back to a neutral and try to practice saying what you said once, because it then becomes more impactful and more rare. Thank you. Guys, always want to thank my Patreons, my patrons. Thank you guys so much. Again, without you, this would not be possible. I'm always incredibly grateful every time I get a new patron on my Patreon. If you like the content and you would like to support the content and see more content, please please subscribe, or please consider subscribing on patreon.com/Keenan Dailey. Thank you.
Now, tonight's adventure into the unknown, into the world of...
I love you for it.
Love you too.